So it's no
So
ideas original.
here's a question about that. What do you think about what I noticed that some independent artists and different artists are going with this paywall thing, where they put their music behind a paywall or something where you can't get it. What do you think of that whole business?
When you say paywall, are you talking about like direct to consumer, like a website?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I feel like if you do what I call ancillary releases, like physical copies, not just digital, like vinyl, limited cassette, some merch, you'll monetize your product way more.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know, I know AZ was doing direct to consumer at one point before he got with the distributor he's using now that I introduced to him, actually. That's a whole other conversation. He was doing direct to consumer, quiet money direct, if you notice, with his independent releases.
Yeah.
He was putting out music and physical product. He's probably making more money off his music then than going back to just streaming, but I feel like he was playing the game to compete in the market with other artists that are putting out streaming product. He just needed to find the right home to put it out and get better at the machine of rolling his music out.
Yeah. Imagine if Drake said that, yo, I'm putting my album for download only or for OVO website for
$10,
$10 a download.
Wow.
That.
Matter of fact, I think Taylor Swift did a vinyl version of her latest album. I think FX told me, he said she did crazy numbers.
She did CDs and she actually did units. But I'm gonna say this though. When y'all keep I hear people say independent, and me and BP, we kind of bump heads in this. There haven't been independent to me since the beginning of Cash Money, the beginning of
you talking grassroots.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say this, right? So when we talk about the mixtapes, the one thing about a mixtape, it always follow what a person been driving. When it's cassette, right? Cassette players. When it's CD,
I was sounding the car, baby.
CD player. Every car.
Flash drive, stream,
Flash drive. So my thing is like this. I know in New York City, it's over 400 bodegas, right? All of them, if you have a good relationship, they will sell your music, just like how they used to sell our mix. Bag of chips, quarter water, Lucy's, music, all in the same black bag. Chopped cheese, whatever you want. Now they got this nasty chopped salmon. I don't know what's going on now. So my whole thing is like this. Get a box, 20, Aki, here, put this in there. Come on, let's do the split. And you do that everywhere you go. You can make your money.
Pay attention to FX. FX was doing something else too besides DJing. yo. So all right. So hold on. So let's have this discussion. All right. So all right. He told us his impression of independent. Bpzy, you tell us what's your impression of independent.
I'm glad you asked me that because I was about to say that. I feel like independent to me is when you're dealing with a distribution partner and you're using your own resources, whatever they are, whether you as one individual or a small team of individuals are using your resources to market that product, whether it's social media, digital marketing, streaming, playlisting, servicing your videos yourself. If you don't have a machine, and when I say machine, I'm talking about a major label machine like the Def Jams, the Universals, the Warners, the Interscopes, with a staff of people working your music, you are independent. Period.
Now I'm going to say this. So your Apple, your Spotify, your Pandora, all your streaming services. Do y'all know who damn near runs those streaming services? the majors. So it's like soon you get in bed with like your tune calls and all those streaming platforms, you still are linked to the major.
To the major.
Yeah. The only thing that's different is
label services.
Yeah, the admin. You know? So they can say you had like I don't know, like 20,000 a blow. You could take some of that money for Spotify services, you know? Because money talks. Let me do this. Let me do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they're gonna commend you with the services.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but my argument is that there are people who are putting out music that don't have money.
Gotcha.
At all.
Well, that's what I was
also,
going to say.
But it also shows once they put them on the streaming services, it reflects with the number. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you working with the label, but it depends on if you spending the marketing dollars for your project, right? You may want ads. They got services where, well, how many ads you want to pop up? And this is like Pandora. So every single time it plays a song, there's an ad pop up or something like that, right? So that's how that streaming services is making their money for playing your music. You get a % off of that, which is ran by either Sony, Universal.
Right. They still getting
Yeah.
So I like what I hear is like the difference in terms of direct to consumer. Like that's what I said. I think you think of like grassroots direct to consumer, like hand to hand type thing. Which I mean, your monetary split would be substantially more.
Yeah.
But then the other part of it is also the reach, right?
Yes.
So we saying 400 bodegas. And it depends on what your fan base is. Like I said earlier, if you had a Drake and Drake put his music behind a paywall, he already has that established fan base that people are gonna clam for. But if you don't have that fan base, you casting sort of like that wide net, saying I'm gonna put that wide net out there
from the inception.
See what I bring back in. Like so, if an artist could ever get to the point of developing. And I tell this to like artists that that we know sometimes. I'm like, yo, instead of thinking major and working with like these big labels, if you have 1,000, think about if you have 1,000 diehard fans that is gonna go out and buy whatever it is you selling, your shirt, your album, whatever it is you selling, that they'll actually be consumers of it and purchase it.
Right.
Something like that you put behind a paywall and you say I'm charging $5, $10 or whatever it is. I think that you could actually make a case that that's better to do than saying like I'm gonna take pennies on a penny for a percentage of a penny for a stream. But I don't know if everybody already has that fan base built in, and I think that that's the part that a lot of people are missing probably from labels, because labels would actually develop talent and help people build the fan base and stuff like that.
Like
so that's where it's a little dicey and tricky.
Right. Well, like when you mentioned Drake built his audience being marketed by a major.
Yeah.
To be able to walk away tomorrow and do the direct to consumer that you just mentioned. Same thing with Nicki. Same thing with Jay-Z. Same thing with Nas. The reason why AZ survives to this day is because he did have a machine behind him early in his career.
Yeah.
Along with the actual talent that people still follow and respect. 50 Cent. He had a machine to push him on a certain level, but he was building an audience independently before that.
Yeah.
But he got bigger once he had a machine behind him. So now he can go back to just saying, you know what, I'm a musician and I'm also acting and producing film and television content. I'm going to put out some music direct to consumer. He can make some money. He can do that. But I'm talking about from the inception, when you're a new artist with amazing talent and no machine and no money, limited resources, you just putting it into DSPs. Good luck.
I'm gonna say this. A good example of what I was talking about. Tech Nine. Tech Nine. All that DSPs and all that. What he's been doing is strictly hand to hand. Hand to hand. He prints it, like he still goes the same route, and he's making millions. Russ is even now doing that.
Russ, yep, I agree with that. Russ.
He's doing that. Like I keep saying, it's 50 states. Every state has a mom and pop store that's selling Subway sandwiches. You hungry? Yo, let me get a hero. Every state got a spot where they selling hero. Quarter water.
I will agree with him on
Bag
that. It is a harder road travel, but it's not impossible because in fairness to Russ, who he just mentioned, Russ put out consistently a lot of music that we don't even know about to build the audience that he has today.
Yeah. Well,
records and albums consistently for years.
And you really don't need the DSPs.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, you think in this era that we in, it's a digital era, right? So you start looking at social media, like a person can create a buzz, and by creating that buzz, that could help you with the hand-to-hand element of it. But I feel like it's an evolution to get to the point where, you know, maybe you have the fan base and you have the belief also, because they're established artists. Like, I remember one time listening to an interview with Jadakiss was talking about he'd rather stay on the major, you know, and he ain't recouping. Well, maybe now because the budget's considerably smaller, but you're not recouping. You get an advance. You don't have to do all the self promotion and marketing and stuff like that. You just got to show up and you got the machine behind you. You know, where some people that I'd be like, yo, I'll forget the advance. I'll put up my own money and then I'll get, you know, a quick flip. I think Jim Jones is an example of that. Jim Jones,
opposite of Jada on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. Jada is in a position now, and Jada always had that position. Like, his family sells coffee.
Yeah,
think about this,
marketable, bro.
Right?
But do he want to do the work associated with selling?
See,